Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
I'm good.
So today we are talking about the Joya de Nicaragua Antaño Gran Reserva Belicoso. Cigar is 6-inch by 54 ring gauge. Comes out of the Joya de Nicaragua factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper, binder, and filler are all listed as Nicaraguan. The price point is $11.15, and the cigar was released in August of 2017. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
It was really good. Starting from the look of the cigar, great looking wrapper. Got a little bit of an oily content to it. Colorado Maduro shade. Construction top notch. I mean, veins well pressed, seems tight. Had a nice even uniform give throughout the whole cigar. Head finish off with a really nicely applied triple cap. Smelling the wrapper, I got like a really raw, pungent kind of cedar, barnyard, a little bit of floral notes coming through. Smelling the foot, dark chocolate, white pepper, cold draw, hay, cocoa, and dried cardboard. So all in all, really well presented cigar and a good tasting experience.
Yeah, the aroma I got from the wrapper was kind of like a light barnyard note, and the foot gave like a syrupy stone fruit sweetness, which was pretty nice. Pre-light draw was a kind of very faint and mix of hay and raisin sweetness. So that was nice as well. So take us through your flavor profile.
Starting from the first third, it's really tasty notes. I mean, it's interesting. This is one of those cigars where I had to think a few times between, in general, should I rate this good or should I rate it very good?
Right.
But anyways, first third, coffee beans, sharper baking spices, cream nuttiness, dry wood, very balanced, faint black pepper coming through. Retro heightens both that black pepper spice and the baking spices, which is in this scenario is really nice because I felt like kind of didn't get enough of that with the mouth draws. So it was good that on the retro, I really got that pop. And also on the retro gave me this like cherry type of a fruit tartness to it. Finish medium in length, taper dry wood, subdued black baking spices, strictly body was medium. Moving on to the second third. So the real story is kind of like towards the middle of the second third, where the cigar really starts to hit its stride. I felt like it's just that greater depth of the same notes of the coffee beans, baking spices, and it's really interesting that the baking spices for me had this like effervescence to it. It almost tasted like oily in nature as well. So very special when I taste something like that because most cigars I don't taste that at all. There's also underlying like cream nuttiness to each mouth draw and on the finish. Retro allows for that coffee beans, baking spices to really shine. Strength nears medium full and body still medium. Moving to the final third, there's really no changes other than that the strength I thought moved from like kind of teetering tottering between that medium full, medium. I thought it was like a consistent medium full at that point. Core flavor still the same. I mean, still really tasty notes of the coffee beans, sharper baking spices, effervescence. Still very much so enjoying that underlying creaminess. So overall, it was a very tasty cigar.
Yeah, the cigar started out with like a subtle mixture of cedar and baking spice, and then as I got a little bit further in, those flavors became a lot fuller. At a half inch in, I was getting a little bit of a graham cracker note, kind of from the mixture of the components there. And then at an inch in, that profile became a little bit darker as the cedar moved to a slightly charred oak note, and the baking spices kind of faded a little bit back. Retrohale also carried a little bit of that slightly charred oak, and as the third was coming to a close, that profile remained kind of a slight charred oak with some baking spice in the background, and the strength was slightly above medium. In the second third, slightly charred oak continued on as the baking spice completely left the profile. Retrohale was kind of a light and clean oak note. At a half inch in, a little bit of cream joined in with that slightly charred oak, kind of brought a little bit of smoothness to the profile. At an inch in, I got a little bit of a vegetal note that joined in with the oak and the cream. And then as the third came to a close, that vegetal note kind of increased a little bit to mix with the charred oak, and the cream had left the profile completely. Strength had bumped up to medium full at that point. As the final third kicks off, the cigar continued on with some of that charred oak and vegetal notes. And then at a half inch in, that vegetal note dropped back quite a bit and was only really present on the finish. And slightly oak was up front. At an inch in, the vegetal note finish went away, kind of left that charred oak note as the lone flavor profile. And that's kind of how the cigar finished out, and strength remained at that medium full mark. So for construction, what was your experience like?
Overall, really good. I rated it very good for burn, which is one notch below our best score. The only reason for that is because I had to touch it up once. But other than that, I mean, it was a really straight burn, tight ashes, 1.5 inch increments of ash retention. So all in all, good. Draw, perfect. I mean, it's not always easy to have a Belicoso kind of that tapered head to have a good draw. Sometimes it could suffer from being a bit of a too tight of a draw. Mm-hmm. But in this scenario, I smoked a couple of these guys throughout like a month span from each other. And both had no issues with the draw.
Yeah, I just had a little bit of slight waviness throughout on the burn, but it never needed any attention from me. Ash held on to 1 inch increments. In regards to the draw, just a little bit tighter than I prefer, but it didn't cause any issues with the smoking experience. So just a minor gripe. So overall, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
I liked it. It was flavorful, and a decent amount of strength, but not overbearing to match. I kind of view this cigar as somewhere in between-ish of the Joya Cabaneta, and then their what is it, the Dark Corojo one that they have, the Antaño Dark Corojo. So like, if you like Cabaneta in the sense of like what I get out of the Cabaneta is like a lot of flavor, very very low strength. I also get this really nice like citrus twang, like tartness to it. So this cigar has that. But then again, if you don't like the Dark Corojo and how it just put you on your ass, because that was the first cigar I ever put me on my ass. So this one kind of is really nice because it's almost like blends those two together, takes a heavier profile, takes a really light profile, and almost like kind of marries it together into one cigar. So if you want to try something that's kind of in between those, this is definitely it. I mean, Joya is not the kind of guys to come out with new cigars every single year. So I feel like when they do, it's worth definitely taking a look at. Mm-hmm. So in this Belicoso format, I think it's a winner.
Yeah, I think this is another nice offering from Joya de Nicaragua. I mean, flavor and strength level started out subtle and then kind of ease higher the further I got into the cigar. So that's kind of a nice building approach. Cedar and oak along with some baking spices, nice flavor profile. True to the brand, it gets up in the medium full arena. So people that like the Antaño would like this. I think this is just kind of a more refined version of the Antaño. Not as full strength as the Dark Corojo, like you were mentioning. So I think it would be right in the people's wheelhouse. I kind of like that middle ground. And I think this is a nice variation on the Antaño line. So it's one I'm definitely looking forward to smoke more of. So getting into the scores, I give it a 6.57. You give it a 7.07. How do you think that matches up with your experience?
It matches up well. I mean, I rated overall profile across the board to be good. I like the tasting profile. Construction near perfect. If I had to redo this one, I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, this one like toppled between like really good and good. But at the end of it, even we could slice, we could slice hairs and whatever. But at the end of it, my barometer is what I smoked is again what I buy some with my own money, and both are yes. So it's good.
Yeah, my score matches up. The final third just kind of fell off a little bit. It wasn't as flavorful, or maybe I guess as complex as the first 2/3. Sometimes in that final third, you just get kind of down to a single flavor profile, and that's kind of where I was at with this one. But the first 2/3 really good, so I think my score matches up well. Any other final thoughts for you on this cigar?
No, I'm curious if the other Vitolas are gonna have similar profiles. Lucky for us, we got them all. So
yeah, we'll try them. So we'll try them all. So, well, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website developingpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on all the social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.